Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we're doing a manga review. So we're going to review volumes 5 and 6 of Komi Can't Communicate. There you go. As you guys can see, I'm trying out a new recording location. Hopefully it's nicer, and I'm also trying out a new recording, what's the word? Definition, I guess. I'm recording with in 4K with 60 frames per second, whereas before I was recording in 1080p with 30 frames per second because I was using the default settings on my iPhone. And then I realized that I can make it nicer, and hopefully that'll remove the graininess that is kind of there in my videos. Also, I'm sitting next to the window, so there's natural light, and I'm recording during the day. So hopefully that'll help out make my video quality overall much better. Before we start, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 50 subscribers by the end of this month, and I'm not able to post very much this week and next week, but starting on the 15th, after I do my interview with Tentai Books, which you guys should leave questions for me. Tentai Books is a new light novel publisher from Spain who's doing English and Spanish light novel publications. So yeah, leave questions down below. After I do my interview with them, I'll start publishing or uploading videos 4 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And that's probably the amount of videos I'm going to be releasing every week until mid-July when I start up my summer class. And then probably starting then all the way until winter break, maybe Thanksgiving break, maybe I'll be doing less than 3 videos a week, depending, because I have school again and I have to, focus on that first. With that out of the way, let's get started. I look at 5 things when I review books. I look at art. I look at plot, characterization, world building, art, and fan service. The first 3 are the objective takes. Art is mostly subjective. I'm just giving you my opinion. But on manga, it's rather important because bad art can really ruin a story in such a visual medium. And then the fan service is mostly a word of warning for those people that don't want to deal with it or read it in stuff that they consume, in media that they consume, which is an understandable thing. Well, I mean, I don't personally care, but I know a lot of people do, and so this is for them. So yeah, I'm going to review these together at the same time. We'll look at each of them individually in some pieces, or like the plot mostly, and then I'll just talk about them in general, both of them together. So volume 5 is mostly about the cultural festival. The plotline here, the plotline in Komi in general isn't really that hard-hitting kind of we have to save the world continuous motion of events. It's more character-driven. It's about the interactions that people have. And the plotline revolves around stuff that happens at school or stuff that happens with friends. In this one specifically, we deal with the cultural festival, which is a thing we don't really have in the US. And it was interesting to learn about, but the school I went to, we would do International Day, which was when a bunch of students, like each classroom, would pick a country, and then we would do some sort of day-long presentation for the kids that were in the elementary next door, because I went to a K through 12 school. So it's pretty, I understand what it is, but a lot of people that are not lucky enough to have done something similar might not understand what it is. But this really, it's not really that necessary to explain. It's just a day when people, different classrooms start doing different things, and they picked the maid cafe for their class, mostly because everyone wanted to see Komi in a maid outfit, which is understandable. And yeah, the rom-com aspect of this is really upped in these 2 volumes. It was there in the first 4, but it wasn't really all that important. Mostly it was just about friendship. This one is upping the ante in terms of the romance aspects. So there's some romantic tension at the beginning. There's like some feelings there. And then we get a bit of a break. They deal with typhoon situation, bad weather, which allows Komi to communicate, to interact with her family. And then they have a bit of a foodie situation where they go to a restaurant and they enjoy like a nice meal together, trying out a new restaurant, which is one of the best activities that you can do with friends, in my opinion. So that's really cool that we got to see Komi do it with her friends. And then basically the rest of it was just the cultural festival, like setting it up, how they do it, and then the actual cultural festival where the maid cafe thing happens. So this one was really fun. Really enjoyed it. I like the new characters that were introduced. We have Otori, who is this one. She's kind of like a hippie. And then I think that's Onihime. I think that's her name. I can't remember. But she's kind of like the big sister type. They're pretty cool. And I like the people from the diner where they went to eat. They were really funny. Like, it was just like a son and like a father and his daughter. And they were just like being weirdos. It was really interesting. It was just really enjoyable. And then this one here is also really good. The plot line here is mostly around new friends. New people are introduced. Katai, I think, is like a delinquent guy. He reminds me of the dude that had like the mohawk in Blue Exorcist. He kind of looks like that guy. He's like a rough around the edges scoundrel type of character. Yeah, so here the plot points are a karaoke after party from the cultural festival. And then Komi goes shopping with her dad. And then there's this thing called fantasies, which is when all the boys are like curious about which girl would probably be the best to date, and they all bring up different fantasies for perfect dates with the different girls. Some of them are nice, some of them are rather odd, and in general they're just like funny. And then we have an intermission to that where the delinquent character Katai is introduced, who just happens to have communication problems. Just not like Komi, but very similar. And then they come back to the fantasies for the second half, and then it's just more weird, funny type of stuff. And then the start of winter, and then they hang out at Nakanaka's house. They have lunch together, and then they go to a cat cafe, which is probably my favorite section of this book. I thought it was really cute how Komi interacts with the girls that she goes with and with the cats. It was really nice. And then they had exams. And then they played this thing called the love game, which is where you confess your love to another person. And you either, and the goal is to not show any emotions to it, which Komi is kind of rather good at. And yeah, it was just fun. And then there's a bit of a, like a small interlude, like vignette about Komi buying roasted potatoes, which I don't really understand. I don't, like, in Mexico, you go out and you buy roasted corn from the street and they like prepare it for you and you eat it. But why would you, like in Japan, apparently they sell roasted potatoes out on the street. I thought it was a little weird, but I just don't understand the culture behind it. So if anyone knows, please let me know down below in the comments. And yeah, mostly the plot line is around Komi, Tadano, and Katai and their interactions, and basically introducing Katai as a new character. Let me make sure that's actually his name. I think that's his name. Yeah, Katai, Makoto Katai. So that's basically it. I already mentioned all the characters. What else? There's no world building in either of these. In either of these. Although that's understandable because it's a romance slice of life. There's really no need for any of that. It's not even set in a fantasy world, so it's not necessary. And the art is still just as good. It's super amazing how full of expressions and how full of character this author can make his characters, even when they don't say anything. I think is amazing. Really, really well done. Really skillful artwork from Tomohito Oda. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And fan service, I don't know. I can't really remember any. I mean, cute girls in maid costumes kind of count as fan service, I guess. And I think there was, I can't remember if it was in this volume or the fourth one, where Yamai is obsessed with seeing Komi's panties. I think it's in the previous one. Oh, another character that they introduced was the maid cafe guy, who I assume is going to not appear again. But he was rather interesting because he was another person that had communication problems. And he almost seemed like the critic from Ratatouille. You know, really mean and really like rough around the edges. But then the girls start to talk to him and he becomes this like completely regular, nervous dude. And I thought it was funny. And yeah, so these volumes are very much in line with the first four. They're nice, soft, relaxing, fuzzy reads that you can really just decompress and enjoy and read really, really quickly. I think I read volume 5 in 25 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. I mean, it doesn't usually take me all that long to read manga anyways, but this one felt extremely fast. And I loved every second of it. It was like funny, exciting, nostalgic. It had everything that I wanted and everything that I needed to relax and enjoy. And it also had a good story and the characters are really interesting. I just love it overall. I still think that nostalgic, reminiscent feeling that it makes you feel is so impactful and so powerful. And I just really, really love it. I don't really want to like mention it a lot because I spent like 10 minutes talking about it in the last episode. Card right there somewhere. And in the first one. And I don't really want to say the same thing over and over again. But this is such a beautiful, like, just enjoyable story. If you guys want to check out Slice of Life for the enjoyment of reminiscing things that you have experienced before, this is a really good series because it's so not dependable, what's the word, easy to sympathize with, easy to connect with, that everyone will have some sort of moment where they're like enveloped by this feeling of reminiscent nostalgia of like, this has happened to me and I'll never experience it again, but I know how it feels. That's sort of like very, very specific, complex emotion. These are a little bit more funny than the first four. There's a lot more like enjoyment that you can get out of them because they're no longer setting up anything. They're really just going full speed ahead, enjoying the characters and really playing with their quirky, odd takes that each of them has. Maybe it's also that by this point, I'm really used to the humor that this author has. And so it really hits harder than it would before, now that I understand it better. But I thought these were much better. I laughed out loud a lot during these. I usually don't really laugh out loud, but because these are so relaxing, I really let myself go. And so I'm really enjoying them as I read and reacting to them physically instead of just like, you know, that like under your breath kind of chuckle like, You know, I was really laughing out loud, which is really, really great. And I think that's basically it. I thought it was a really, really great pair of volumes. I thought they were really enjoyable. I just overall really love this series. I really need to get more of them, if there are more. I assume so, because they're not even anywhere near close to done. I think Komi has 15 friends at this point, and one of them's a cat. So there's a long way to go, and I'm really excited to see what comes next. I also hope that they don't really make it that long, because I think that the beauty of it might get old if you keep rehashing the same type of experiences. But given that this is a person that basically lived by themselves or in their own world until high school, a lot of these experiences that are new or to her are also kind of like a really small amount of all the types of new experiences that you could have with friends. So there's still a long list of things that they can do that are new, so that you don't really get any staleness out of it. At least I hope so, because this is such a good series, and I don't want it to be ruined by excessive length, right? Because sometimes these really good series go on and on and on, and then they start losing their magic because they've been going on for so long. Some things just need to end when they need to end. And yeah, I really love this. I think everyone should read it. I can't really think of a similar title, which is something I know I missed in the first two videos. But really, I can't think of anything similar. My friend Robert mentioned this manga called Real Life that I might check out. Although other slice of lifey romance stuff that I want to check out are Wotakoi. First, I saw an episode or two of the anime with a friend of mine, and I thought the premise sounded really nice, and I enjoyed what they were doing. So I think that's the next rom-com story I'll check out. But really, I think with the end of school coming next week, I'm ready to jump back into action-driven shonen. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe if you like my content. And, just drop a recommendation about anything you guys think is good. Rom-coms especially would be really nice. I'm kind of into the ecchi ones as it is, like To Love Ru, High School DxD. What other one is there? Like those types of stuff I'm already interested in. But anything that's more on the shoujo side or less invested in the fan service, please let me know. Recommend anything down below. Just recommend anything at all. I would really like it. So, see you guys later.